Hey friends, it's Ashley and today I'm here with a new video for Hip Kit Club. I am using the mood board for this month as inspiration for my layout and you can see that here. It's the March mood board, and I'm also using the March 2019 main kit and embellishment kit. You can see a close-up here of the layout that I'm going to be working on. And I'm also using some of the March cut files. You can find these on the Hip Kit Club website. So just make sure you head over there. I'll leave a link below in the comments so you can find that easily. And I'm getting started here. This is the first layout that I am doing with the March kit, and so it's always hard for me to choose what papers to use, but I decided to go with a paper from the Crate Paper Sunny Days collection for my background, and I'm going to use some of the Heidi Swapp Color Fresh papers for the cut files that I'm working with. And these are two different ones. I wanted to use the word magic as part of my title, and so I'm tracing the inside parts of that onto the Color Fresh paper. I didn't want to trace around the cut file itself because it was kind of thin and sometimes it's harder to do that. So I just kept these inside pieces and I kind of placed the cut file where I knew I wanted to have it cut. And then I'm just tracing around those pieces and I'm going to trim it out and cut around these. You're basically just kind of fussy cutting. And so since I did trace it this way, I am having to cut outside of my pencil lines. So once I finish that, I will have to go back and erase these. Usually I like to either trace on the back side or to trace outside of the cut file, so that way I'm cutting on the inside, if that makes sense, and you're avoiding those pencil lines. But this time I needed to see kind of where it was that I was getting that pattern, so I had to trace on the front side, but it's not too big of a deal. Sometimes the pencil lines don't want to erase very well depending on what type of paper you're using, but I didn't have too much trouble with it on this one. But I really liked this contrast of the black and white stripe with the softer pink and then the yellow that were on the Crate Paper Sunny Days background paper. So I just wanted to bring in that stripe and that contrast of the black. So I'm going to start erasing those pencil lines that I have here, and this is really the only cut file that I have to do this with. For the other part, I have it worked out to where I trace on the outside part, and so I cut inside the pencil line, and that way I avoid having to erase what I have on the paper. And so I'm just going to adhere this one for you just so you can see the process, and then I'll finish the rest of that word. I liked that the G, I, and C were all together. That made it really easy. I didn't have to individually put those in, so that was pretty quick to be able to just do that one piece all together with the way that the cut file is designed. So now I'm going to do the heart, and I want to move to another Color Fresh paper. This one is really pretty. It's kind of like a watercolor background, and I am using it to cut apart this time, but I have an extra sheet from the paper add-on kit, so I think I'll be using it for another layout as a full background because it's so pretty. But I'm actually going to use this one for the heart here, and then I'm also going to use it on the flower cut file. I like that it has kind of a variation of color. So the heart was really easy, and I'm going to get this placed in an area where I can pick up several different colors. And so now you can see, instead of tracing on the inside of the cut file, I would trace the outside part. And I'm doing that same thing with the leaves. And this is that same paper that I used with the stripes. This is just the back side. And I liked that it had those sections of colors and it had the green, so I was able to use that for my leaves. And I decided to do the leaf section first so that way I could kind of overlap my flower without cutting it too precisely to get it in that spot. And I already had my flower traced, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that out. This was really easy to cut. It's a simple shape. And you can see I have those different colors. I have the pink, a little bit of the yellow. I think there's a little bit of teal and green in there also. So that's just really pretty, and it looks like I watercolored it, which I didn't. So it makes it like give that handmade watercolor look without having to take the time to do it. And so you can see how that is coming together, and here I have it all finished. So I decided I wanted to add dimension to the flower cluster instead of my title and my photo. So I'm just going to get my title placed here, and then I'm going to use my tape runner to adhere that, but I'm going to use some dimensional foam to pop up the flower. So I'm just going to add that. This kind does not have the adhesive behind it, so I do just cut it and I add my adhesive roller to attach that to the cut file. And I want to make sure that I get this really covered on the back. I want to fill all of those leaves just to make sure that none of them droop down. So I'm going to take the time to just fill all those little spots. And it was kind of fragile on that side. You can see like the little blooms that are on the right hand side right now. There's a thin little piece, and so I wanted to be very careful with that area and not rip it while I was doing this. And so I wanted to make sure that I had the foam on each one of those to keep it up to the same height as the rest of the cut file. So once I get my adhesive on there, I'm going to kind of just layer it where it goes over the title. And then I'm going to add my photo. Like I said, I didn't want any dimension on that. I wanted to kind of tuck it in under the flower. And so since I had the word magic from the cut file, I wanted to make the title of the layout Everyday Magic. And so these are some thickers from American Crafts. And so I'm going to do the word everyday and just kind of mix up a little bit of the color on these. Now I have found that these thickers do not like to stick very well. I don't know what it is. It doesn't like to play well with the paper for some reason, but I've always had that problem with this type of thicker. The foam thickers I really never have that problem with. They like to stick very well. So I'm just kind of getting these in place right now, just seeing where I want it to go. And then I'm going to take my liquid adhesive, which is the Scotch Quick Dry adhesive, and I'm going to just add a little bit of that to the back of each one of these letters to make sure that they stay on the layout. And I really like this font. It's a thin font, kind of tall and skinny. And I like that it has the different colors. Some of the, you can see the variation of the colors. Some of them go horizontal and some of them go vertical. So it's really cute. And I kind of just tried to pick a variety of those to do the title with. And so once I have that done, I am going to get to my favorite part, which is embellishing. And you can see here I have some of the crepe paper Sunny Days, and I wanted to use this kind of little puffy sticker. It says enjoy the ride, and it may be hard to see right now, but when you see the close-ups at the end, you will notice that our little doggy Baxter is riding in a wagon being pulled by our middle daughter. We were in San Antonio, Texas for the day, going to the Alamo, and he does not like to walk, so he got pulled around in the wagon, and I thought the enjoy the ride sticker was perfect for that. And I also wanted to bring in one of those cute little bows, so I just decided to add it over the heart. And then these are die cuts for this month, and these are an exclusive, and they are so cute. There are a lot of different shapes, and they're kind of the perfect size. They're not too small, they're not too big. You have a variety of different things, and so I was kind of just like, what do I use first kind of moment, because there's so much cute stuff in there. So I just wanted to look through. I pretty much used some of the butterflies, a flower here or there, some hearts, and so that's kind of what I'm looking for right now. And if you notice in my picture, you can see on the right hand side of my daughter, there's actually a car behind her. There was a van in the background of the picture, and it was something that I couldn't really crop out or kind of get out with Photoshop. So sometimes when you have something like that, it's good to use an embellishment to kind of cover it up. So I just kind of, that was one of the reasons that I wanted to kind of tuck it under the die cut flower. And then also I added, well, I'm sorry, under the cut file flower from the cut files this month, but also that little die cut flower, I was able to cover up a lot of that van, and so you can't really see it that much, so it's not as distracting in the photo. So that's a good way to use your embellishments sometimes, as just kind of like a little cover up for something in your photo if it's along that outside edge. These are also exclusives, the little puffy hearts, enamel hearts, and I wanted to use those to bring in some of that darker kind of blue color, since I used the little bow. Just to have that extra kind of dark blue on the layout. And then these are some of the little just die cut hearts from the ephemera pack, and these are really cute. So I wanted to use a few of those to kind of create a visual triangle around the layout. And lately I have been on a diagonal kick. I'm not sure why, but you can see I have kind of a diagonal going on this layout also. Just starting with the title at the top right and then kind of coming down with my embellishments to the bottom left. But I really like the look of that, so I like the way that that design turned out for this layout. So I've got that last little heart, kind of seeing if there's anything else. And I found a little piece from the ephemera pack that said together. And so I thought that worked perfectly right there at the bottom. And then I want to use my date stamp to add the date to the layout, and that will finish things up. And like I said, I will leave links for you below in the description box to the kit for May, or I'm sorry, for March. So make sure you check those out. I'm getting ahead of myself. But I'll leave links to that and to the cut files. You can see my finished layout here and some close-ups. And make sure you play along with our mood board. You can see that at the beginning of my video if you want to check that out. And thanks so much for watching this time. I hope to see you again.